Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vertical Reach podcast. This is where storytelling meets strategy. I'm Pauline Gray, and each week I sit down with the creators, innovators, and voices shaping the world of vertical storytelling. Let's tell stories that connect. So Dana is the founder of LA Productions and the LA vertical drama market, pretty much the Sundance of the vertical world. Everyone knows everybody is there, and it's amazing. She founded Vert-I-Go Media and is the co-founder of the International Academy of Vertical Arts. With the Apollo Awards, these industry awards inaugural, dedicated to vertical storytelling. Dana Productions is her vertical creative home base with a writer's room, production, and 12 vertical mixers to date if you go there in Sherman Oaks.
It's every Thursday of the month.
Here in Los Angeles. She really connects professionals from across the vertical space, actors, casting directors, producers, screenwriters. It's really just the hub of interaction. She has 30 plus vertical projects across writing, development, and production. She's one of the leading voices shaping the vertical drama space in North America. And I'd argue globally, quite honestly. She regularly evaluates series and creators for festivals, studios, acquisition platforms, and develops original vertical projects. Once again, she works with international teams across North America and Europe. This May, she's launching both the second edition of LA Drama Market, which is a 4-day industry hub, like I said, the Sundance of the vertical market, and the Vert-I-Go app. It's a creator-friendly platform built for vertical drama. And she also created Other, which is a dystopian series in development across both vertical and long formats. So, Dana, I would like you to jump in real quick and tell us a little bit about the Academy and the app, if you'd like, and just kind of those talking points. And then that'll go on with my questions, which I think will dovetail with what you got going on.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome and the introduction, Pauline. For the Academy, I'll probably start it from there. Like last year when we were doing the market, it was very industry focused. And I feel like we were lacking awards. Everyone wants a gala, a chance to glam up and celebrate their achievements in the vertical industry. And I had this idea that I wanted to do some kind of awards, probably like vertical Oscars. And then one of the attendees approached me. His name was Elias, and he had the whole concept already built, the concept of International Academy of Vertical Arts and Apollo Awards. So we get together. Then we also Roberta Sparta, a vertical producer, joined us, and together we are doing the inaugural edition of Apollo Awards, and we want to celebrate industry. There are a lot of awards for fan-based. They for mainly actors, but we also want to have, if we want to have vertical industry, we need to start treating it as an industry. So we definitely need some kind of industry recognition for directors, producers, writers, cinematographers, all the people behind the camera, but also, of course, best actors, supporting actors. So all of this we packed into Apollo Awards, which we will be having on the last day of LA Vertical Drama Market on May 10th. It will be a very nice red carpet gala. So welcome everyone. Yeah, this market will be bigger than last year. We are doing twice per year following Cannes. We have Cannes market, and then we have MIPCOM in October. So we'll have one late April, early May, and the next one late October, first week of November, probably. So it will be twice per year, and we are really excited about it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you tell me the dates of the market for May?
Yeah, that's an important question. Thank you. So we start on May 7th. It will be May 7th to 10th.
Tell me a little bit about sort of the structure or some of the events. The link will be in the show notes, but I'm really curious to hear from you sort of the structure, because I did it last year. I was amazed. I did all the labs. Well, I did everything I could do all at once. And if you can just a broad overview of the event, and then I have another question after that.
Yeah, I feel like this year we want to make even harder choices for our audience in terms of what event to pick. because we have a really packed schedule, even like looking at preliminary. So right now we are looking at 10 panels. We had 13 last year, so it's like it's not that much. Like last year, Vertical Story Lab was a big success. It is unexpected. So we want to build on that. And we are doing not only Vertical Story Lab, but vertical labs in general, dedicated for each part of filmmaking. We will have like vertical acting lab, vertical directing lab, vertical producing lab. We will even have like Gen AI lab. So all practical master classes with industry professionals, like from 3 to 6 sessions per lab. That's something I'm really proud of that we are building, because I feel like it will really help people verticalize their skills and get their feet in the door of vertical industry. Another thing that is like different from last year, we will be doing conversations. So it will be like basically one-on-one conversations with successful people in the industry. I feel like it's really inspiring to see how far people can go just in like 1 year or 2 years in this industry. So it will be like inspirational, informal talks with actors, producers on stage, and that's something that hasn't been done last edition. And we will also keep VIP branches. We will have a pitch competition for proof of concepts, for scripts, daily networking. We will probably have a super cool VIP masterclass, but until it's confirmed on Tuesday, I don't want to brag about it, but it will be something like mind-blowing if it's confirmed.
Amazing. Okay. So for you, what was that moment that you realized that your horizontal growth path, professionally, creatively, had capped out at the level it was, and you decided to reach higher, sort of get on your tennis shoes and start doing your stretches to make your vertical leap reach? I want to combine that now with you've been referring to the verticals as an industry. And I'm curious, do you see it as a sort of its own unique industry, or do you see it as a sort of a subsection of the entertainment industry, of the film industry, or as its own unique phenomenon? Because, and I ask this because a lot of people, myself, I mean, in the industry for quite some time, I feel like I just stopped scratching my head about verticals. And I'm curious about how do you, how did you navigate the head scratching part to make that reach upwards?
It's a really interesting and layered question. I would probably start with the industry part. Verticals have been overlooked for a long time. Even like a year ago, it was like, okay, like verticals, it's nothing. It's like content making. It's for people who can't do proper movies and proper series. Those people do verticals. It was like the general perception. Right now, I feel like it's definitely changing, especially because of all the media coverage that the verticals get nowadays. I feel like verticals, it's really an interesting and probably unique phenomenon in the whole entertainment industry. Definitely, it's a part of media and entertainment industry. But I feel like verticals are on the edge of technology, human behavior, and entertainment. And that's what makes it unique. Especially if we talk about human behavior and technology, verticals have this unique ability to adapt way faster than big studios, big streamers are. And that's probably like the most adjustable thing in all entertainment. We see the data, and then like we can see the result of the data like in a month.
So I totally hear that. As someone who, myself, who comes from traditional commercial advertising, filmmaking, some traditional movie of the week, features, I totally understand that notion of like the desirability of being able to pivot quickly. Because one thing from the commercial world is that the focus group occurs months before the project. Whereas what I'm seeing from the vertical world is the focus group is occurring in real time. And when the quote unquote focus group being the data and responsive in the moment. So one thing from last year's vertical market, and I don't know if that man is coming back again, but he's amazing. One thing he was saying was about how you see the data and you respond to the data. And while there may be times when the content may not be what the zeitgeist seems to match, the data will always match the zeitgeist. You kind of, so it's kind of like zeitgeisting in real time. But and that's my opinion. But please jump in and if you want to contribute to that or add to that or
I want to like I agree with you, but I also want to build on that. I feel like like for myself, it's a very interesting space to learn because at some point I was really interested in like human behavior, like behavioral economics, that part. And I feel like it's very applicable into verticals, creating hooks and cliffhangers.
Mhm.
But also there is a part of me who is very creative. So it's that edge of like where business and creativity kind of not fight, but there is a gap between creativity and business. And here, why I worship technology nowadays, that technology allows you to do whatever you want with your creativity.
Mm,
Don't need permission. Like you can do everything you want because of social media, because of AI. Like you have endless possibilities, and it really empowers creators and it allows you to test what works in this space in a very safe and cheap way.
exactly. I agree with you. What struck me from that man's presentation on the panel last year was one thing he said about that sort of business creativity audience sort of triangle where he said, and please correct me, I'm very roughly paraphrasing, but he said, up until now, the artist determined the audience's taste. Almost for me, it's almost like when Steve Jobs said, people don't know what they actually want till you show it to them. And the gentleman who was speaking said, now, however, rather than the artist working for a production company, the artist is working for a tech company. And so now, because it's a tech company with data and analytics, it's now rather than the artist determining the taste, it's now the audience determining the art they choose to receive. And I'm still getting my head around that as a creator myself of like, okay, so the nimbleness as well, because I definitely have a very long history of having shot on actual film, like Kodak. And coming from that world, you would go buy the actual can of film, and it would cost about from shooting it to developing and cutting it, that 1,000 feet of film, which is about a minute worth of end result, could be between $3 to $5,000 easily. And now, for a vertical budget, that's what 5% of a vertical budget off the top. So there's so much more room for immediate response at low cost in the vertical world. But let me ask you this: what do you feel carried over from what you're doing before the vertical space?
Actually, I would say that for me, it was a very smooth transition to vertical space because I got into verticals as a writer.
Mm.
Before that, I was writing novels, web novels. And as you know, like verticals started as adaptations of vertical novels. And because I was writing them, I was releasing them like chapter per chapter. So it's
Mm.
kind of like you knew that, okay, like I need to end. Like it wasn't that conscious, okay, like I need to end on a cliffhanger for people to continue reading. It was more like a intuition,
Mm.
intuitive feelings that, okay, like I need to end on something interesting so people will keep reading it. And then it's basically the same principles that you adapt into verticals. And I've started adapting not my web novel at the time, but like other people web novels into verticals. And you can see that it's not that different. Like the structures, the plot, the storylines, it's very similar to what we have with web novels. So like for me, it was like rather smooth transition.
That's amazing. Were there any particular surprises about vertical storytelling that popped up, or you kind of felt a very natural, organic flow into it, or
I
from the
guess
web novel?
I guess for me, like the biggest challenge as a creator is to understand probably like the principles that you've touched on before, that the audience determines the taste. But in vertical case, it's the client determines. So we have this mysterious client who has his own point of view on all the things. I don't know, like when I'm creating something, I don't like the frames. the framework they try to put us in.
Mm.
So I can do it. I can write for hire, but like it doesn't bring me satisfaction that much. So when I started writing my own verticals, I love it. When I write original stories, it's way easier for me. But like when you write for hire and you have like the uh, structure you just need to work with, like what every episode should have. You basically script an outline. There's
Mhm.
no room for creativity there. You just need to accept it, and like acceptance, it wasn't an easy part for me.
Okay, so Dana, now tell me, you just talked about sort of the eternal dilemma of the writer creative of the work from the soul and then the work for the rent. The over the roof over our head kind of work, and then the work we have to do that really reflects our own sort of creative journey. And I'm just curious, what kind of work for your own creativity really resonates with you? Like if you could sort of craft an ideal prospectus or ideal brief, what would it be to meet your particular sort of creative desires?
I would say that I'm trying to execute this. Like right now, I was with all the vertical crazy pace. I was feeling that I'm like putting off my own creativity for a long time. Like before I got into verticals, I wrote 4 novels and like 2 of them like are published right now. And it was I did it like in 1.5 years. So it was like another crazy rhythm, but it was satisfying. After
Mhm.
that, I needed like a break. I went more into like verticals production and so on. But I had those ideas in my head, and like they aren't worth anything until they are like written down on paper. Like after the market, I guess like 1 month after the last market, I decided, okay, like I want to write to continue working on my own story. So since then, it's been like almost 5 months that I like wake up every morning and I start my mornings with writing.
Amazing. Okay, that's so encouraging.
Yeah.
Let me ask you that if we can go a little bit now into sort of the personal vertical reaching journey. How does one integrate that balance as someone who's, and I'm speaking from my own personal ongoing struggle. You know, I earn my living in the industry, and I often feel like my biggest downfall to my success in the industry has been the fact that I work a lot in the industry. And I say that as I'm a 30-year script supervisor, and being on set, while it's lovely and I appreciate it so much when I'm working, a year can go by. I've written like 3 pages of a screenplay. So how can you speak to that balancing of I have to work in the industry, but I also have to succeed as an artist in the industry? And I think you touched on your writing in the mornings. You have okay, is that like your sacred time? Okay.
I would say that for me, it's definitely a sacred time because I've started working on my horizontal series Other back in like 2023, I guess. I had the whole package ready, like a pitch deck, pilot, story bible, and then we had industry strike. So nothing happened for over a year. Even though like I had producers who were like interested in optioning it, like nothing happened. So in 2024, I decided I want to film like proof of concepts, 2 proof of concept. So I had like some visual effects because it's a dystopian dark romance about 2 people who weren't supposed to be together, but they are.
Okay.
And it has like I usually present it as a mix of Handmaid's Tale, Dune, and Outlander because it hits all of those vibes. And when people were like hearing about this concept, they're like, "Oh my god, like it's $1 million budget, like it's impossible." So when I did those 2 proof of concept, basically with like no money, okay, they kind of not that they changed their mind, but they appreciated that it can be done like with a way lower budget. But still, I felt stuck. Because I know that it's a huge like world building, and it requires a lot of resources, especially financial ones. So someone recommended me to have an IP for it because like no one wants to adapt something that doesn't have proven audience.
Mm.
So, okay, I've started writing my novel based on the series. And for me, it was not that it was an easy choice, I guess, because I've started as a writer of novels. So I'm very used to this format. And this way, like, I can understand my story better, my characters better. But I did like one chapter, then I went to set or something else, or another paid gig. And it wasn't like until I got to like write every morning. I'm like right now, I did like 21 chapters out of 27. Like I'm on a finishing line.
Wow. So set the scene for us. Do you drink coffee, tea? What do you do?
For what?
When you're writing? Power.
It's either water with lemon or banana smoothie.
Okay. Okay. And all right. So then silence or music.
When I write outside, it's usually headphones with music, but when I write at home, it's usually just like fireplace with nice lights.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And then you just go into your cave, your writing cave, your creative cave, and dim the lights. You go to work, and you're done. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's like I need to get my kid to school, so I have like 1 hour before that. And I wouldn't say that it's an easy thing. It's just the discipline, you know? Like, and I feel like if I don't do it in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not feeling that well because I feel like that when you work with your for your own sake, with your own creativity, when you basically talk to your soul as a writer, it
Mhm.
empowers you. And I want to go back to the thing that you mentioned for the workflow you have on sets. I was there and I can relate to everything you've been saying. I was working on set as script supervisor like till the market almost. And on some months, I guess like May, June, I had like 20 days on set,
I've been there. I've been there.
back to back, prep from prep, like 12-hour days. 2 hours commute, you don't have time for anything. And I felt like burned out because it wasn't like the thing I wanted to do my whole life. I guess like first 8 projects, they were very rewarding because I was learning a lot of things.
Mhm.
I was learning from directors. I was basically shadowing. I was meeting new people. But then at some point, I felt stuck, you
Yeah.
know, like I'm doing those things. And you can't, like for me, it was not the ego thing, but I knew that I wanted to direct. I knew that I wanted to do more, and it's not your job. I
No.
don't want to overstep anyone, but I wasn't feeling comfortable in my role anymore. I was doing a lot of like additional things on set, like not even like a script supervisor, but like I was prepping the market. I was doing other things like in between breaks and so on. But I felt like I was betraying myself at some point.
Fully understand that. So let's just kind of recap a little bit before I ask you sort of my last question or two. Of horizontal growth is basically more activity with the same ceiling. So that sounds like where you're doing those 20-day runs, which I totally understand. I've so been there. I mean, I literally have no idea who that person was that worked that way and how it even happened. I think you have another personality that you go into this other zone where you just shut down and go into robot mode because me personally, I was a script supervisor. I still am in and out, but I'm also a treatment writer for directors. My directors were all in Europe. So I would shoot all day and write all night. And I just, for years,
This
I would
zombie.
just, and then get on the briefing call for the pitch at lunchtime. I think this industry, you kinda just become this literally this robot, and then you look back and you're like, "Oh, a year wait, was that a year that went by? Oh, wait, okay, let me plug into the wall socket, recharge my battery pack, do a robot again next year." So, with horizontal growth, which we are expert at, that's more activity, higher volume, but hitting the same ceiling, we're the same row on the call sheet, literally, and then for vertical reach and maybe fewer, more choice moves with higher leverage, and literally move up the call sheet as well. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that that's the scariest thing in our lives. I wouldn't call it like horizontal growth. For me, it's like for me, it's stability. I
Mm,
had like
mhm.
good paychecks. I had good paychecks. I was able to sustain myself. But that like inner feelings that like you can do more, it was like haunting me. That vertical reach, it's like you jump out of the cliff. It's like you take a leap of faith, basically. And it's really scary. And I wouldn't say that it's like, at least for me, it wasn't that I was doing like less things. It was like, I think that I was doing more things, like just like trying what can work and I feel like I'm still there. But for me, it was very again, scary experience. Like even like the market, it was kind of like a vertical reach for me. I knew that I needed to do something. I knew that I would regret if I don't do it. So I knew that I just need to do it. And a lot of people told me that I should postpone it. A lot of people told me that I should cancel it. I think that I was even telling it myself at some point. But I'm really glad that that I did it. And it's not only like the market. I feel like for me was that I decided that I'm not taking any script supervising jobs after the market. And it was like, I guess I never had that many offers when I decided that I don't want to do it. And like when
I
you don't,
know.
yeah, like everyone wants to do it. Like, and I didn't have like that much of money at that point, and it was like really tempting. But I was like, no, I wasn't that past once. I almost quit like last March, but then I decided that I want to stay more. So this time I'm not doing this. And yeah, it was very challenging, especially like on the financial side. But yes, 1 month after, we started our first production, and I was executive producing it and co-directing it. And I don't think it would be possible if I didn't give up script supervising. So sometimes you just need to take this leap of faith, wait, and that opportunity you were waiting for will knock on your door.
Dane, I'm taking this very personally. I was just on set until about 7 o'clock last night. So I'm like really kind of, what's the universe trying to tell me right now? So all this being said, how do you define success differently now? You might have defined it, let's say January of 25.
So for me, it's like probably success right now. It's not like the number of money in your bank account, even though it's very nice to have a big number there. For me, it's more about how do you feel in your own life? Are you enjoying your life? Do you feel accomplished? Do you feel like you are following your mission? Like, do you feel that you are following your inner voice? I feel like those things are more important for me right now. But I would also say that this path is probably harder because it requires more patience and more discipline probably as well. Because there are always easier options, you know. You can always go back to SAT and like get a script supervisor job or like any other jobs that you've been doing. But I don't think that it will help me get to the goals I have for myself.
I love that. This is very personal. I'm hearing this very clearly in my soul as well. Now, this season of the show, the Vertical Reach podcast, is really centered on people who are transitioning from traditional entertainment, whether it be film, TV, commercial advertising, to either integrating or adjusting or shifting to the vertical microdrama world. And I call it the vertical reach because it it's really a good play on words, right? But coming seasons will be about what we just discussed, that feeling of you at ease in your soul. And sidebar, I realized recently that I personally am not sure if people have comfort zones individually. I wonder if everyone around them has a comfort zone and the extent to which people in their environments are comfortable seeing them in that zone. And so, which is a wide open that's for chats in the chat section. But I know myself that when I think about making a shift or an adjustment in my life, it's very rarely based on a doubt whether I can achieve it. It's sort of a background worry of what others might think. And so I'm going to ask you, for people now, whether it's film, TV, commercials, or whomever is listening to this podcast who want to make a vertical reach, what would you advise them to do? Whether it's a mindset, whether it's just put your tennis shoes on and start jumping, just what would be your little sort of like nudge upwards?
I feel like sometimes I need that advice myself, to be honest. But I would say that the biggest like leaps like in your career, they happen when you start looking at yourself differently in a different way. And I totally agree with you that like our possibilities are limitless, basically. But I feel like we still try to follow some kind of plan and framework. And this will be personal, but like for me, I understood like why I was struggling so much with writing. And for me it was that I didn't want to connect with my story, you know? Like all four of my previous stories, they had a lot of personal input. Like I kind of like I lived through those stories. Those experiences weren't like very pleasant ones because there are like a lot of emotions, a lot of not pain, but like relationship drama pains that like I was writing. I was kind of like living through it as my characters. And here I didn't want to go through it. I just wanted to write, you know, like make a nice story, put a nice show. And it's not possible to do something if you don't like commit to it like 100%.
So your first 4 novels were easier, you're saying. I wanna hear more about that, as opposed to the current project.
I wouldn't say that they were easier. I was writing them. It was kind of like a personal therapy for me. But also, like, I was ready, like, to relieve all the feelings of my characters that I was writing. And here I feel like it was like next level of acceptance of some parts of myself. It was like more about exposing some parts of my soul I didn't know I had. And I was fighting this for a long time, I guess. And
Mm.
even like now when I feel like I'm stuck, I can relate why I feel stuck. Okay, like this is because like my main character is living through some things that I don't want to live through. And I feel like writing is way more personal than everyone tends to think. And that's why I feel that creators and writers they should do something that can resonate with themselves because it's the only way you can have like a really nice writing and the stories that will touch everyone.
Absolutely. We're gonna definitely have a whole I probably bet a screenwriter's emotional journey sequence of the podcast. Because I know for myself personally, it's like, they say write what you know, but I don't really believe in that. I almost wanna say write what you felt.
Yeah. I feel like it's not only like write what you felt, it's also like when you're creating the characters, when you're writing their backstories, like you need to put yourself in their shoes. You need to make sure that you stay truthful to the character you created. And you can't do it, you know, like through the glass. Like I put a glass, like here am I, here's my character. I will be writing about her, but like I'm like nowhere near it. This won't work. This won't work. At least for me, but I think it can be truthful for a lot of writers as well.
So, if I'm interpreting you correctly, with your writing lens, you would suggest that someone who wants to make a vertical reach or a leap, that they get really honest with themselves. Am I
Yes.
clear on that? Sort of this honesty, self-integrity, and yeah, it seems like it's about really acknowledging where one is. I mean, and for myself personally, now I'm getting personal. I've been very lucky in that I've had an amazing, I'd say, streak of hard earned luck in the industry. And now I had to be honest and say, I want more. And in fact, let me backtrack on that. I was forced to be honest because the industry itself shifted. I might not have been honest as quickly had there been a lot of work in the industry. But I can really say that anyone had told me I've been doing a podcast 6 months ago, I'd been like, you mean listen to one? Because I listen to them all the time. But me? Oh. So yeah, I think to your point, for people who really want to make a change, really be honest, really be pure, and go for it. So Dana, I'm gonna ask you one last question. I think I might know the answer. Maybe a couple incarnations. My standard question is, what is your next swipe up? But I know you're doing an app already. So after the app, which I want to hear about, what swipes are coming down the pike?
If I'm being completely honest, because I guess that's where we're at right now.
We're doing the honest part of the app conversation. Yeah.
That's where we're at right now. Like I want to have a deal for my series by the end of this year. And that's something I'm working on. I want to finish my novel. I have some offers from publishing, like from last year. So I want to work with a publishing company. I want to make a vertical based on it, and then like use it as a proof like to get green light for horizontal series. Because I feel I've been postponing it for so long. I had this idea in my head, I guess, like since 2021.
Mm.
And it was like coming together like piece by piece. So I want to have it done by the end of this year, but who knows like what else comes along the way. Like there are so many like hints around what should we do, and same as you, like I would never imagine myself doing a vertical drama market like a year ago, you know. Right now I'm doing my second one, and like sometimes there's like just a voice in your head like do this, and like you need to do this like sooner or later. So that's what I want to do. Right now I have this idea about the app. I had this, I guess, since the market, and it was the same thing. I was kind of postponing it. I had a lot of doubts. I had a lot of fear. I guess like we all do when we start something new. And there were like a lot of other apps who were emerging. I'm like, okay, like, do I even do it? And but I use the same strategy I did for market. I started telling people that I will do this. And once you tell people, you can't back off. Well, this trick works for me. So I started telling people I was looking for partners because I understand that I couldn't do it. I understood that I couldn't do it alone. It was like a big undertaking. Honestly, I didn't want uh, to do something that big after the market. I was just like, okay, I did the market, now I can rest. But you know, like there is always another thing, another level, another vertical reach you need to do. So I guess an app was my next one. And I partnered with with a really amazing woman, whom I met through the market actually. So it all kind of like lined up. And she is like, she's everything I'm not in terms of business. She's a very good partner because she understands the business side of things. She understands distribution. She understands traditional Hollywood, which I'm not really good at. So I feel like we kind of complete each other. And I really like the way our partnership is moving forward. So for the app, it was the same thing as a market. I knew that I will regret if I don't do it, or I will regret even more if someone else will do it. You know?
That's the
It's
worst.
the worst feeling. It's the worst feeling. So we did like a minimum value product. We did it like in December. We started licensing shows. We have like all basic features we want to have right now. And we started like soft launching it I guess 2 weeks ago, and one of our clips got like 500,000 views in 5 days. And it was like,
Amazing. Hashtag no regrets.
no regrets. Yeah, but like after that, you compare like every clip to that one. That's another thing like that you can't compare. But even though like right now we have 3 shows, we will have we are editing 2 more, so we'll have 5 probably like in the next 2 weeks, and we want to launch in the market with at least 10. 1 in 20. We'll see whether we'll get there, but it's community and creator friendly app. We want to not like um, we want to do something that the market has been missing. And the market has been missing an actual app which has retention, which people come back to, the stories people fall in love with, which have community around it, which has creators around it, which has something more than just like short love, whatever like the name is, that you don't even remember the name. We want to you can check it out. You can let me know what you think. But we're really proud of what we have achieved so far, and the sky is the limit.
The data, so we just spent about the first little bit really kind of going over sort of the mechanics of the vertical filmmaking market, and personal choices and decisions. Now, while we have been pretty personal up until this point, I think we may go a level deeper, and we're gonna go into some stuff more like about your journey as an artist, your projects, and sort of being honest and truthful. Yeah, I think now we're gonna pivot more into, like, you and your next swipe up. So, yeah, I mean, a as those of you watch verticals, you know you have to swipe up to the next thing, and I know that you literally have an app, which will be swiping up. Swiping up on the app, right?
Mhm.
And, so, yeah, we're back with Dana, and we're going to kind of take up where we left off in the last session. Yeah, so thank you so much. And I may have just one last question for you. I guess I'll say I'll to the listeners that swiping up, doing the vertical reach, is about building something new or becoming something new. And to everyone who's listening, please keep swiping up, whatever that means to you. Thank you, Dana. So, Dana, everyone's fascinated. We're tracking with you, we're swiping with you. Tell us every which way we can attend the drama market here in LA, how we can track you on socials, how we can dialogue on LinkedIn. Tell us more about, tell us more about how to get in touch with you.
Okay.
All right.
You can find me I will be linked to this video. You can find my Instagram there. You can reach me at danaproproductions@gmail.com. You can, but the best way to reach about the drama market so your message doesn't get lost, you can reach us at info@laverticaldramamarket.com. We are pretty responsive. So if you have like any questions, you can reach out there. And yeah, you can just Google me, Dana Protsyshak. You will find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. So I'm looking forward to getting in touch with all of you.
Amazing, Dana. Thank you so much. I'm so inspired. I'm going to carve out my morning time to write some more. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Miss Dana. And we'll see you very soon with the next episode. Keep swiping up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Vertical Reach podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If it sparked something for you, please share it with a fellow storyteller. Until next time, let's tell stories that can.